Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where I shake my brain nipples every day to get some of that dirty YouTube money that allows me to offer you folks in-person, hands-on technology education that empowers you to do whatever it is that you want to do. Silicon Dojo, silicondojo.com. We did a class on Olama last week. We're doing a class on OpenAI API next week in Durham, North Carolina. If you're interested in coming to a hands-on class, go to silicondojo.com and sign up. Now, it is interesting. It is interesting, the modern world of Republican domination of the United States, where they say, right, guns don't kill people. Snarky comments on social media sites do. Right? It is our God-given right to own as many weapons as we want in the United States, and we will take no responsibility for the consequences of that. But by God, if somebody comes out with an app that we don't like, or if somebody says something nasty on social media, that is what we need to come down, with the sledgehammer of justice on. I do find this kind of stuff kind of interesting. Again, with the whole Republican horse crap that's going on, right? The Second Amendment, right? The idea that the Second Amendment defends the First, and then they just crush the shit out of the First. It's like, well, I don't know. Does the Second Amendment defend the First, or does the Second Amendment allow you to go after the people that are using their First Amendment rights? It is a bit of a question, right? So anyways, this is the latest thing out of the Trump administration, right? Trump, who hates America. He hates America. He hates Americans. He has literally been caught on camera saying he does not know if it's his responsibility to uphold the Constitution. Habeas corpus might be a bridge too far from him. And so we're getting this kind of stuff. We're getting more and more of this kind of stuff. Basically, we're trying to shut off the United States from the rest of the world. U.S. revokes visas for 6 foreigners over comments made about Charlie Kirk's death. That's right, Charlie Kirk, free speech revolutionary. We are kicking foreigners out of this country for not saying nice things about Charlie Kirk. And yeah, I don't know. It's 2025, right? Freedom of speech is supposed to be sacrosanct in this country. And what we're seeing from MAGA, what we're seeing from the Republicans is basically they are twisting the laws, they're twisting the rules to support. Again, trying to squelch anybody, saying anything that they don't particularly dislike. The idea here is that they want to chuck out foreigners. Again, I don't understand, right? The whole thing with the southern border, we need to deal with the southern border. We still need to deal with the southern border, right? As far as immigration is concerned, the southern border was the thing. But now we're kicking out, foreign exchange students. We're keeping people from coming in this country. They're screwing around with people that are women that come here and they babysit in order to pay for room and board or whatever. They're being fucking thrown in jail. I don't know what the hell half of this has to do with the southern border. But anyways, they keep going because they fucking hate foreigners, right? They're not trying to create a wall around the southern border. They're trying to create a wall around the United States because we apparently, I'm informed, are like the superior people that everybody else has to kowtow to. So anyways, this is yet another thing. U.S. State Department said on Tuesday it had revoked the visas of 6 foreigners over social media comments made about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The announcement of the revocations came as U.S. President Donald Trump posthumously awarded Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in the U.S. on what would have been Kirk's 32nd birthday. Quote, the United States has no obligation to host foreigners who wish death on Americans. Do remember, this is also the president that pardoned everybody for January 6th. Pardoned everybody for January 6th. But anyways, the department said on X, it listed South Africa, Argentina, Mexico, Brazil, Germany, and Paraguay as the home countries of the people who had their visas revoked. In one post, an Argentine national accused Kirk of spreading racist, xenophobic, and misogynistic rhetoric. And according to the State Department, another person, according to the department, wrote in German, when fascists die, Democrats don't complain. The State Department added that it continues to identify visa holders who it says celebrate celebrated Kirk's assassination at a Utah University event last month. It had previously warned the U.S. would take action against foreigners, quote, praising, rationalizing, or making light of Kirk's death. But, right, isn't that the price of freedom? Again, what I find weird, what the fucking MAGA, what I find weird with the right wing and the Republicans and all this kind of stuff, right? We have like 21,000, I've looked at the stats, it's like 21,000 murders per year. That's not gun deaths, it's something like 30,000 gun deaths. But anyways, it's like 21,000 murders per year. And Charlie Kirk, I've listened to him talk about this, and basically he states, right, murders using guns, that is the cost of freedom. That is the price of freedom. When 21,000 Americans are slaughtered every year in the United States, that is simply the fee that is required in blood to God in order to give us our gun rights. But by God, 21,001 motherfuckers die, and the Republicans lose their fucking minds. Because apparently, please understand this, the Republicans think your Second Amendment right is there to shoot, apparently, the postman. Right? Because isn't that right? Isn't the point of the Second Amendment, their argument with the Second Amendment, right? To defend yourself from tyranny? And we all know that the real tyrants of the United States are the postal people. Because it's weird. They argue this all the fucking time. And then when somebody tries to shoot a politician, which is bad, they're like, oh my God, why did this happen? It's literally what you fuckers have argued for. You sick bastards literally state the reason Americans need to own weapons is so that they can deal with their politicians. Right? Again, a civilian out there, free speech and all that. Again, he's not a legitimate target. The politicians are not legitimate targets, right? The pundits and the media and the pontificators and the people that are espousing policies, they are not legitimate targets. It's 12-year-old little girls who are asleep on their way home at the end of the day. They are the real tyrants of our society. So anyways, I do find it to be fucking amusing as hell, right? Again, dear MAGA, dear GOP, you fucking hate us. You hate America. You hate the Constitution. You hate Americans. As I've said before, I'm Buddhist. I'm not Christian. There's no way in hell that I'm going to be Christian, right? They make it clear I'm not an American. Again, think about this. Think about this truly. They make it clear I'm not an American. How amused do you think it makes a veteran to be told by fundamentalist pieces of shit that I am not a full-fledged American? Anyways, so yeah, they're kicking folks out. Since January, the Trump administration has pursued a sweeping crackdown on immigration, including increasing social media vetting and revoking thousands of student visas and aiming to tighten duration of others. What is my advice for everybody out there? Get the fuck off of social media. Social media is evil, right? The thing is, you go onto social media, you say things onto social media, and it can be taken in any which way, right? In the modern world, right? In the modern world of MAGA cancel culture, right? Because that's the thing. MAGA despises the free speech of people who don't espouse their particular views. Right? You have to worry about jobs. You have to be worried about whether you can be in the country. You have to be worried about a lot of other things. And I think one of the big questions to ask right now in this particular world is it worth putting your opinions out onto the internet? Especially as things have become so polar, right? I think about that, I think about this with Facebook, right? I got off Facebook years and years ago. Some people are like, how do you live without Facebook? And I was like, easily, right? Because I got into Facebook. And again, this is true from 10 years ago, right? From before the Trump times. Before the Trump times, I left Facebook, right? And that was the thing. When I got onto Facebook back in like 2009, it was about corgi butt. Corgi butt. I like corgi butt, and I cannot lie. If you have owned a corgi and you see a good corgi butt, almost nothing in the world more precious than corgi butt, right? I spent years on Facebook as a corgi butt aficionado, right? Hong Kong, the folks in Hong Kong, they love their corgis. And the most adorable corgi butt comes out of Hong Kong. Anyway, so I was having a good old time looking at my corgi butts. And then, right, I befriend people or whatever else, and they get their algorithm going, right? Facebook gets their algorithm going. All of a sudden, I'm not seeing so much corgi butt anymore. I'm seeing the political opinions of people that I actually know. And that's one of the things I talked about, right? There's a family member, and I like the family member, right? We talk during Thanksgiving or whatever else, and it's fine, right? You go, you have a Thanksgiving meal, whatever. All of a sudden, my feed is just getting blasted on Benghazi. Again, Benghazi and Second Amendment. And here's the thing. I don't really want to get into an argument with him over Benghazi and Second Amendment. I don't really care about what he thinks about Benghazi and Second Amendment. But just fucking every time I go in, Benghazi, Second Amendment, Benghazi, Second, Benghazi. And this is where I've talked about before. I was just like, fuck this shit. And I basically just got the hell off of Facebook. And I think that's one of the big questions to be asking about with social media. Like Trump is Trump the problem, or is Trump the ultimate symptom of the problem in our society? Right? And I think that's the issue that we're kind of running into, right? This hyper politicized world where everybody shares everything on social media, and then everybody feels like they should be able to punish everybody else for not having a right think or whatever else. And so it is something to be thinking about. And the other thing too, to be thinking about this, like with your young person with social media is, there's this idea of like, oh, well, I'll delete posts. You see how well that works sometimes. Like I will delete posts, but like with our government, right? Palantir, I think it's Palantir and somebody else. They're getting together to create this huge social networking surveillance scheme that's probably already exists. It's probably just improving on what they've already have. So if they have a social media scheme, surveillance scheme, remember, anything you post, that information can just be grabbed and dumped into somebody else's database. Right? Once it's in their database, once it's in their data store, you have no control over it. Right? So even if you post something to Facebook and then you realize it was stupid. You realize you went too far. You realize how people could take that wrong, and then you delete it. Realize if that is scraped and dumped into Palantir or whoever else's data store, that will be there forever. And so one of the questions that then comes up is what happens, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 6 months from now, when you want to go travel or do something else. They do a standard vetting process, and they say you said this stupid thing, and then, my God, you used words. My God, you in America, you expect to use words that we don't like? That is a fucking bridge too far. By God. So anyways, I don't know. This is the continued idiocy we have out of our administration and the rest of it. So it's something to think about. Stay off of social media. Stay off of social media. Dump your Facebook, dump your Twitter, dump your Blue Sky or whatever else. That would be my thought. And for the Republicans out there, what the hell are you fuckers doing? I don't get this. I do not get any of this. This is just... You all are just bat crap insane at this point. But anyways, that's my opinion. That is my opinion. And you can cancel me based off of that opinion. I believe in the United States, we should have freedom of speech. Literally comes to basically don't scream fire in a crowded movie theater. Everything else you should basically be allowed to say. But anyways, I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the Constitution. So what do you think about this? What do you think about the U.S. revoking visas for people that say not nice things about Charlie Kirk's death? What do you think about this being slightly hilarious coming about the guy who literally said, gun deaths are simply, the price that has to be paid for freedom? What do you think about with social media and all that kind of stuff? Is it, we talk about that with the whole risk tolerance. Do you have enough tolerance for the amount of risk that is created by social media in 2025? Just all the way around. I don't know. Put your thoughts down below. If you like these videos, give us a thumbs up. If you hate these videos, give us a thumbs down. Call me amazing. Call me a Lutneck. Call me a Lutneck. Don't call me a Lutneck. I'm not that bad. Not that bad. Anyways, call me a moron. Just be a real Lutnick and do it down there in the comment section. Remember, silicondojo.com is what I actually care about. We're having another class on OpenAI's API in Durham, North Carolina next week. Go to silicondojo.com if you're interested. And with that, see y'all later.